was like, oh my God, this is it. He's on freaking Temur. He is on the planet Temur. This is where he is. Hey everybody, I'm Holly Burns of Holly Burns Psychic. Welcome to my channel. Today I have some mind-blowing updates on David Wilcock's goings-on, where he is. I think I figured out for sure where he is. I'm going to share all that with you today. I have your viewer questions. I also did a reading with him myself and asked him some specific questions. And then I have some mind-blowing correlations that happened when I was doing some Googling, Google AI, and I had quite the discussion, and I got these mind-blowing correlations with the reading. I have a Melchizedek update for you guys too. I am so confident now about where he is and what he's doing. So let's get into it. Just to remind everybody, if you need to get a hold of me for a reading, the best way to do that is to email me from my website or email me directly on my email address. Okay, let's start with the reading. I asked him my own questions, so I'm going to go through those first. For those of you that are wondering, I used Gilded Royale Tarot. I found the cheapest price for it on the internet, so you can find that link in the description below. So I said, what have you been doing with your time? The first card that he gave me was the King of Wands card. The beautiful, tropical, glowing light, nice warm weather. He said, this is a beautiful planet. He said, I'm ready for action. I'm alert and diligent. He is focused and driven, and something has his full attention, and he's channeling all of his energy in that direction. And the words engaged jump out of the book. Engaged. And I'm like, whoa, okay, that seems really fast, but all right, okay, we'll go with that. And then it said, for now, that is all that matters. And so he's like really, really into something there that's really taking his attention. And when he said engaged, that means to a woman. So let's keep going. And I've got lots more to tell you about that as well. I didn't just hear it once. So I have other things to share with you as well. So the next card he gave me was the Tower card. It's not the card that's important. The words from the book are what's important. The next thing he said, tall, beautiful, and strong. And I said, I think that's the woman. And then it said, tall people. And it said, we've added to it and altered it as needed. We expect it to last and serve us well. And I'm like, okay, that seems to be about his relationship. He's been, working it out with the other person, and we expect it to last and serve us well. Then he says, a moment of realization that shakes my world to its very foundation. We fall. I'm like, okay, that sounds a little bit like TMI. And then the next words were like the naked man. So basically, he's describing he is having fun in a physical love relationship with a woman. Yay for David! And then he said, don't discount, telling me not to blow this off. Okay, all right. We're putting it in the done pile. Then he was saying that he's had some deep realizations about his life as David on Earth, on planet Earth, before he came to where he is now. And it all kind of just clicked in, and it all makes sense now. So like he's been told more information about his soul's destinies and what he's supposed to be doing. And he said, knowing the truth is good. Ignorance is not really bliss. So he's saying like understanding his soul's plan is good for him. He's very happy that he knows the details now. Then he's thinking about everything he's learning there and how much his belief system is expanding and how humanity will not be ready for this information when he comes back. So sometimes he's just kind of sticking in a random thought. So then he said, probably ready to rest a while. He said, he's sleeping well. He said they immediately helped him with any residual issues with his sleep as soon as he got there. And then he's been resting and recovering from the journey and all the prolonged trauma and stress he was undergoing. And he's feeling very rejuvenated now. And I'll tell you some technical things that totally correlate with that in the last part of the video. So stay tuned for that chapter because it's going to blow your mind. He said he's now feeling alert and diligent after resting for a period. Then he brought up alchemy. He said he's enjoyed some adventures. He's been enjoying some quieter, more domestic things. And I just heard him say, boy, it's pretty great being freed of my stress and anxiety back there. So I did hear him say that in my head. And then he said he was told to take some time off and rejuvenate. And he said he didn't realize how much pressure he was under to do the presentations every Sunday and take all that time to prepare them on that very strict schedule. How much anxiety and how much tension that he was holding in his daily life with all the pressures that he was going under. And so he said that where he is, they let everything flow as it should and they don't force results. And so he said that's hugely different for him. And he said he is free to create as he feels the impulse to create. And he loves that because they don't need money there. You don't have to work. You don't have to go to a job 8 to 5. He said they don't have a work schedule. So if he wants to take time off with his girlfriend and go do something fun together, they just do it. He said they don't do 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. How fun is that? And I was thinking to myself, why would he want to come back? He just said in my head, well, because I have a destiny. Yes. He has work to do for humans. That's why. And he's got family members and he's got friends and he's got connections here. But wow, I mean, life there sounds pretty freaking great, doesn't it? Then he said he has a comfortable home. He has comfort, abundance, and good fortune. He is invested in creating a secure situation for himself. His fortune is of good cheer and not money, meaning no currency is needed. Then he said he has spent time going off alone to solidify his knowledge, and then he returns to share it with others. So I gathered when he was talking about that, I gathered that he was meditating. I've been getting the message that his psychic abilities have been like really elevated since he went there. And I'll tell you more about that in the last chapter of the video. So you got to stay tuned for that. And then he said, there's no hoarding here because sharing things only brings an increase in those gifts. Isn't that so cool? There's no incentive to hoard anything there. Then he said he's feeling very grateful for his lifestyle. Then the next card he gave me was talking about a mysterious allure, like spying on Earth or checking out what's going on back here. He's been showing what happens in the future. He could keep abreast of what's going on back here while he was there. And he's out of fear. Yay! So he doesn't have to fear because he knows how everything's going to end. So he's excited about getting to that, future and coming back to Earth. He said it's really weird having nothing to fear. Then once again, it said a woman. I'm like, oh, okay. Then he talks about a happy memory of time in the past. And I got to show you this card because something in this card is super important. Wow, this happened to be on the top of my deck. That gave me chills. It's a 6 of Cups card. And what's important in this card is the little cat. Do you see the kitty cats in the front of the card there? That cat in the grass has always jumped out to me. And he gives me this card for where he is. A lot. This card means he's talking about that he's had a past life with the woman he's with now. And I think that this is those two in a past life because this card is about bringing the past into the present. And if people have had past lives together, they give me this card a lot. And then it says an inspiration to share the same. And I think that means have kids again in this lifetime. He's talking about that he knows his past with this woman and that they had children and they're going to have children in this lifetime too. And then I got left it for someone else to find. What jumped out was he left clues for us to find. He inserted that in there too, so that we would know what's really going on. He's ready to move on to something new. He received a gift. Why not share the abundance with someone else? Then, this is a really interesting card. And they made the beautiful red flowers in this card jump out. And the mountains, the snow-capped mountains, that's something super important too. I'll get to in the last part of the video. It said, a peacefulness about the scene. Illuminate the scene with a radiant glow. The radiant glow is also really important too. I'll tie that in a second. David is saying that his hardships are done and he's moving into a new cycle of his life right now. And he's super excited to move into that. And then he told us, beware of losing hope. Do not give up. He just inserted that right into the reading. I love it when he does that. Then he said he's moving confidently and purposely along. He is well rested. And then he gave me the alchemical symbol for fire. Once again, the word alchemy. So I think he's practicing alchemy on the other planet. His passion is moving him ahead rather quickly. He's very excited about it. He feels a big adrenaline rush. He's ready for a grand adventure where the angels fear to tread. So that meant he's not in the angelic realm. He's not in their home turf. He's over here in the 3D where angels fear to tread. So that was just a little confirmation telling me that David is not in the spirit realm, like I said. Then, again, it said, a woman. So it's the second time the words a woman jumped up, but it's an entirely different tarot card. This is the Seven of Pentacles card now, and the other one was a whole different tarot card. So a woman, and then contented. The woman has exerted her will to make the tree fruitful, which I took to mean have a child. The children are going to be special in some way. You have sown seeds. To me, that means that they're already working on having a kid. It's not what you'd hoped. You see if you can do better next time. The baby was not the sex they wanted, so they're having another one. And so they have one of each, or they're going to have one of each. So that's my translation of these definitions that he gave me when I asked him, how is everything doing? What's he going? What's he doing? Yeah, I think the girl comes first because it says a woman and her daughter sit in front of a cozy home in the presence of bees while the cat shows playfulness. So once again, we have a cat. And this is super important for later. See the little kitty cat there? Again, that's his wife and his daughter, which I believe comes first. Has his family at the top. His family is his top priority. They have harmonious lives free of strife and conflict. And yes, I know this seems like everything's all, oh, he just explained something to me. Okay, cool. He said the timelines are different, remember? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, okay, so my timeline, when I check in with David, every time I check in, a lot more time has passed for him than has passed for us. Because remember, he's going to do 20 years of life on the other planet in like 5 Earth years here. But he's had time to do all that because he's been there a lot longer than when I'm checking in with him. It's a lot longer than 2 months on Earth. He just said 3 years. Like 3 years may have gone by for him over there. So he's had time to have a family. Wow, super cool. So that's what's going on. Before David came for his wife, she had a mate that didn't come home. He may have been a soldier of some sort. I feel her previous mate was killed. He was coming home, but he never arrived. The next card is him looking at Earth. It says he's on a temporary diversion. The time for blindness is over. He knows he's going back. He must acclimate and move forward with determination. But he knows what he must do going back to Earth. And the word acclimating is really important for later in this video. Then he said, put down your screens. Stop staring at your phone, scrolling all day long. So I got the impression that he doesn't do a lot of screen time there. And I got an update. David was saying it's 2.5 times larger than our sun and it burns 32 times brighter and has a slight blue twinge. I got new info about that. I found out there's a star in the Pleiades. It's Alcyone et Tauri. Guess what? It's 2.5 times the size of our sun. And it has a blue tinge. Wow. Now I'm getting into the viewer questions now. I said, David, the viewers want to know more about the technology that allowed for you to get where you are and the technology of the ship that you went on. Can you tell us more about that? His answer was portals. And he's showing me this card for the answer. And that's that same woman that came to him in the beginning that I said looked like a Pleiadian. And the 2 cups are jumping out as portals. So like each one of them are in a different dimension. So she's in one dimension, he's in the other dimension. And that energy between them is the portal. And they're like jump between dimensions. So he was telling me like they did dimension jumping. You use your memory. You think of the place and you go where you think. And he said it can be tricky. You have to get the coordinates just right or you end up somewhere else. Or you go back but in a different time. 50 years in the future. You got to be really careful of the timeline. And then I realized, hey, wait a minute. That's what he's going to do when he comes back here. I went, super correlation with that. I said, David, you've mentioned you've been getting new briefings. Can you please tell us some more details? And he's talking about the flame coming out of the column. I think it's all related to propulsion and technology. That his work there is connected to helping Stavati type technology come to fruition on Earth. He's working on making super fast jets that would work on Earth. It involves a new project he's undertaking, and he said he loves working on it. They are saying they wanted him to be a part of it because of his skills and brilliance. It's both social and career related. And then someone asked him, is it sunny there? And so he was explaining there's a daytime and a nighttime, and the daytime has this glow to it. He said the sun is glowing like a really big object, but it's way more mellow than our sun. When the sun's up in the sky, it's a lot smaller, but it was really big when it was on the horizon and there was a beautiful glow. It sounded like he might have said that it's more rare that it's up in the sky. It stays down by the horizon the whole day at times and doesn't go up in the sky. So maybe only certain times of the year that it's up in the sky. So but there might be like seasons. And I think it was the warmer season when he arrived because he was saying it was hotter there. And then he gave me a card about nighttime. They do also still have nighttime, but I felt like that was less dominant. Then a viewer asked, what happened? The family have a nice service. And he was explaining, yes. Then once again, he was talking about the same woman again, which was this card. This one is his mother. And then he added the Eight of Wands card, which meant him flying over Earth, knowing what's going on. And he is aware of them. Same thing he talked about before. And this person was a woman. And he has mastered the art of astral traveling. He said he has balanced his conscious and unconscious states. He just said, like, so I came to my own service. So he was there. And then he was talking about being known all over the world. He knows later that he'll be known all over the world. And that's his future. And he's also talking about Jesus and Mary coming back from the clouds. Then somebody asked, did your family come and get your possessions from your home, like your diary, etc.? This person was really concerned about his diary. He said the diary is making its way to the right person. It sounded like it had gotten packed with the stuff, and by way of being packed up, it's going to find its way to the person that's supposed to have it. One person wanted to know, do you know when normal people try to reach out to you? He said, not in the moment, no. Once again, he's bringing up two women again. One's his mother, and one feels like it's his ex-wife to me. So I don't know if he's just, really wants to tell her something, or something's going on with that, or he remembers past lives with her now or something. I don't know. I don't know for sure that it's her, but that's just what it feels like to me if I'm going to tell you who it is. And he's interrupting me. He said he wants those two people to know he's not dead. And he most commonly communicates with those two people while he's asleep, that he goes and travels to them. So it was when he's asleep. And he's on the other side of the dimension, and that he made a choice. He is in an agreed upon state of separation, so he can concentrate on his life there. He gave me 3 more cards to depict his future back here. And one was some sort of looking glass technology. And he said he was shown his future, but he was not able to use the same technology to view everything going on back here all the time because it would distract him too much. So that's the thing about, put the screens down. So, oh yeah, that's right. That's why I'm getting clarity on that now. He's saying, no, I had to put the screen down as well. Just focus on my life there and check in once in a while. Somebody else asked, can you explain how much awareness you have of people talking about you back here? He said exactly the same cards again. He said the 9 of Pentacles and the 9 of Swords, which blows my freaking mind. These are the 2 people he keeps bringing up since the very first reading I did with him. These are the 2 people he brings up. So it's like he knows how they are, or he knows what's going on, or he wants to get a message through to them. He gives me this one all the time, and this secondary one. This is a younger person. This one is his mother. Same 2 cards again. Maybe he's learned something, about their soul contract or something that he wants to tell her. So he's highly concerned about these 2 people. And so then when I said, can you explain how much awareness you have of people talking to you back here? He gave me the same thing about people talking about you. He gave me the same 2 cards again. I'm like, what? Then he gave me the Ace of Swords along with that, which is like, really, really, that's my card for being really adamant. Like, I know what's going on with these 2. Or like, I really need to get something through to them. It's like, that's what he gave me. I asked him if he brought the diary with him to the other world. And he said the aliens told him, you won't need those things, his personal belongings. They said it will all be provided for you. So he did not bring one thing with him. Did you know ahead of time about them coming to get you? He said when his dog died, he got a nudge not to get another dog. He said he was getting communication that someone was coming. Something was going to happen. but he wasn't given specifics about leaving the planet ahead of time. So he thought, he said he was given visions of aliens saying, "We are coming." But he thought it meant coming to Earth through their public disclosure, and that he would gain credibility, thus safety. He did not expect it to be this. So he was very surprised when he was leaving the planet. Someone asked, did Anna Paulina Luna help you? He said she helped in a non-direct way by paving the way for people who are whistleblowers to be safe, coming out and telling their stories. And she's a soul friend of his from in between their lives. But on this physical plane, she did not help him directly. No. David's soul said he wanted to do this himself, so he refused any type of major help on the physical plane in his pre-life contract. They asked, what's the food like for your health there? And he said, take your pick, meaning he can eat everything. He said he's very happy with the food there. It's so much higher vibrating than the food here. He said he does not miss eating meat at all, so they don't eat meat. He said he could replicate something that tastes like meat, but that isn't meat, if he wants to eat a steak. But he wants to adopt their practices as much as possible, so he, for the most part, does what they do. And they eat a lot of sun food. It was like food that was as a result of the beautiful sunshine, that glorious big burst of beautiful radiant sun that comes from their planet that grows a lot of abundant food for them. Is what he was explaining. And you'll find out more about that later in the video, correlating with where he is. Now I'm getting to the signs and symbols that he told me. This is David talking. He said, no one's connecting the dots. And it was 6 4s, 6 number 4s. I'm like, what does that mean? I don't know. But 4 years from now is 2030. So maybe that's what it is. And then he said, I just want to thank you for he was once again telling me, I just want to thank you for making these videos. He's done that several times, made that jump out to me. And then he said that his health, how he's doing his health. He said, I appreciate you and I send you so much love for the courage you have. Keep questioning the narrative. So that was a message to all of us. Keep questioning the narrative, and he's sending us lots of love. Then he was talking about the totality of the eclipse, and the elders said this is the end. About the eclipse being connected to the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx. And I don't really know what's going on with that yet. All I know is they talked about it here, and the numbers I got with it were 11, 05, 27, and 105. So once again, it's a 105, 27, and a 105. I just noticed that right now, a double pattern of 105. And 27 is 2027 is the year that eclipse happens. And the elder said, this is the end. So I think the energy of that eclipse is going to create a new portal of energy of reality available for us to create. And that's the start of the end. The start of the bad guys on Earth, the start of their power really crumbling away, making it safe for David to come back. That's what I feel like they're marking. And that would make total sense. If all that started in 2027, then around 2030, David would be back. That lines up with the timeline that I have gotten. I don't know if it's right. That's just what I'm downloading. Then he said you have to understand the physics. He was talking about how they did the switcheroo and they made it look like he did the act. This is a correlation I got in the physical. Stephen Greer was talking about how if you are on a frequency that cannot be detected in this dimension, it's like it's not here. That was a really cool explanation to further correlate what I got on my earlier videos that I spent like 2 days asking him about. Then he said, stick with this narrative. Then I got a sign that they're working on bringing internet to Mars. If that's a thing, it could be possible that David could do a broadcast from his planet. Then they said it was real. What that meant was he is really still in his body, and what happened didn't go to non-physical dimension. Then it said a warning to David, you're going to be working with this person. There's a non-terrestrial or extraterrestrial. You're going to be working with them. More correlations that he's off working with extraterrestrials and he's not dead. And then somebody said to ask about the not releasing the body cam footage. He said, you're not gonna get it. They're not gonna release it. We're not gonna be able to analyze the dimension shift and really look frame by frame at what happened. That's kind of that. Then he said, all good things, and that's about the other planet. And then he said, keep it singularly on, please. What he meant was, be okay with this weird narrative. This is the right story. Then somebody said that David willingly had a vasectomy years ago. And the reason why that happened was because he was not supposed to have any reason to stay back on Earth. So it was his soul's plan. Then he said, thank you for listening. I just watched our video. Great, great. He was commenting to me and telling me, and he was telling you guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. He was totally approving the video. Someone said to ask him, are there any scientists there with you? And he would not discuss that. He was just mum's the word. I couldn't get anything out of him about that. Kind of like it's top secret. And so he couldn't talk about them, maybe for their safety. Then this jumped out. It will be the biggest disclosure story of all time. Yes. That's David's story when he comes back to Earth and tells us his story and brings his family members with him, he just said. Then, this was David talking, and when he was talking about it, he was talking about something completely different that happened to him on Earth when the Draco reptilians used to take him at night. But when he was talking about it and I was watching it, his current self had a whole nother layer of meaning to it. So he said, I have a personal stake at getting rid of these things. And if you want to laugh at me and you think this shit's made up and nothing happened, I'm sorry if you can't believe it. But there could be a reality where this thing is happening. I was like, oh my God. All that matches exactly now. And that's what he was doing. His higher self was saying all that with me. Then I got this. I came up with, in my previous readings, exactly what this just said. So here's another correlation. Somebody said this on Cosmic Disclosure. The ETs do have a technology where they can stitch in and out of time. They can pick you up. They can have a long set of experiences with you, however long, and bring you back. Ta-da! That's exactly what they said they were doing with him in my previous readings. So I love it when I get a physical correlation. Then I got, your experience is real. Your team operates differently. Okay, works for me. Then Jeremy Corbell says he was told there's a credible and urgent threat to his life. Another agency could be directly or indirectly involved in pushing a dangerous individual toward harming him. And that is exactly the very first thing he said to me, was that there was a danger if he would have stayed. He was told if he stuck around that he was going to get killed. And I do say that in the other videos. So there's a total correlation right there. Jeremy Corbell. Then David said, it was incredible. And let me tell you about the planet, guys. Absolutely beautiful. There was fruit everywhere. Very much, I would say, a vacation planet. We could materialize anything desired. Very specifically, 3 moons. So that was David describing where he is. I don't know if he has 3 moons, but in doing a little research on the 3 moons, I found out that the Tegeta star system is known right now for having 0 moons. However, they are admitting that they can't really tell for sure if there's any moons around the planets, astrology-wise, because they're too far away and there's too much of a glare from the planets themselves for them to know if they have any moons. So we're going by what we're hearing from channelers and other things like that. And there is 4 planets that are talked about in the Pleiadian system: Temur, Era, Procyon, and a 4th world. And so to me, that jumped out as possibly the 3 moons. The 3 moons could be the other 3 planets. Then I had gotten in my mind that he was going to come back in 2030. And somebody in the comments section said, as soon as she found out this narrative, bam, 2030 popped in her head. And she's like, yeah, he's coming back in 2030. She said she even told her spouse. Another commenter and viewer said that she had an experience where David came to her a while back before the incident, came to her while she was in her sleep. And she said she was sensing he was on a ship. And he said to her he was fine. So he was on a ship and he came to tell her he was fine. Crazy correlation right there. Super cool. Then I got more correlations of them making it look like people killed themselves. Los Alamos scientists found a year later with a handgun by her side because they were found with handguns and no identification and no cell phone with them. So it's the same MO. Interesting that they were all found hiking. Very, very suspicious. It could be a common MO when someone needs to go do something else. Then I got the words, in previous episodes, you broke some big news. So let's talk about this next mission. You flew to Mars. That was David being interviewed in the future. He's back on Earth. You flew to blah, blah, blah. And so once again, correlations that this is going to happen because I was remote viewing a moment in the future when he's back. Now I have something more happening with Melchizedek. Just to review, in a previous video, I had mentioned that I was getting a word very similar to the word Melchizedek. It said Melchiz, or I can't remember what it was now, but it was something to do with planet, not the Melchizedek figure known in the Bible. And I just dropped it because I'm like, okay, I don't see anything to do with Melchizedek out in space anywhere. And then bam, I'm listening to podcasts and this guy was talking about a star system called Melchizedek. It's a university. It's a place where all the souls go to learn. It's like college for souls. I'm talking last night with Google AI and I was trying to find the episode on Gaia where I saw it. Basically, I just wanted to know more about Melchizedek. And he said, yes, it's known to be a blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, how does Google AI know all this stuff? What's going on with that? And so I started talking with Google AI. Google AI starts telling me, yeah, well, Melchizedek isn't really conducive to humans. It's known that you can't go there if you're still in your 3D body because the radiation is way too strong and physical humans can't handle it there. I'm like, oh, really? How the hell do you know that? And so then he said, yeah, you have to be in astral form. If you're an alive human, you can go there in astral travel, but you can't go there in a 3D body. And I'm like, okay, this doesn't really feel like it's it. I don't think he's there. So then I segued over and I said, okay, well, can a human go to the Pleiades then? And it said, oh, yes, human beings gone to the Pleiades and they can go there. They can travel on the ships there with the Pleiadians. And I'm like, how do you know that? And so it started giving me the sources of where it started learning all this. It said, the information provided comes directly from ufology, New Age spirituality, and channeled lore. It is not backed by mainstream science. And it said specific details came from two primary sources within the UFO extraterrestrial contact community. Edward, oh my God. Oh my God, you guys. Wow, because I was just like, the other day I was just going, why do you guys keep hammering me with Edward? My spirit guides kept saying Edward. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to sit down and add up the numbers in Edward. EWARD. What's the total numbers? Where does it add up to? They said you still should. Okay, maybe it adds up to 2030 or something. I don't know. We'll have to see. But because that's the reason why I was getting the word Edward over and over again. So that when I saw that as one of the sources about the information about the Pleiades, I would realize that they were telling me that word Edward, so I would recognize that sign. That's another huge correlation that David is in the Pleiades. Is of connection to this information about the Pleiades. And then the second source is the Swaru and Cosmic Agency disclosures. Okay, so that's where it says it's getting this information about the two different planets in the Pleiades. Okay, so then we get into it. We start talking about, somehow I got into this description. There's a planet called Era and Temur, and Talika City has 38 million people. After I found out that humans can live there, this is what I asked. First, it talked about the flora and fauna. So first, I'll tell you about the two different planets and which one I think he's on. Then they asked me about the technology there. Then they said, would you like to know more about the animals there? And I'm like, yeah. It's like Google AI knows about all this stuff? This is crazy. So then it talked about the animals. And then I asked specifically, I said, do they have anything like a domesticated cat from the earth? And they said, oh, yes, they have an animal very similar to the domesticated Earth cats of Earth. And they said, but everybody's vegan there, including the animals. They use replicators to replicate a meat-like substance that they feed to their cats. But it's not real meat. And I went, oh my God, that's exactly what David said. In my reading, he could, if he wanted to, replicate something that is like steak. Get out! Now, I got to tell you about the planets. This is the coolest thing ever. The planets, the two different planets I was choosing between, they have 70% oxygen, which is super high. So the two different planets are Era and Temur. They have heavy oxygen-rich air compared to Earth, creating an environment that supports deep physical vitality. Era suffers from extreme weather shifts due to its highly elliptical orbit and intense axial tilt. So the temperatures can swing from negative 80 degrees Fahrenheit up to 100. It's very hot. Kind of like Minnesota. That sounds like exactly like where I live. It is exactly like where, I mean, seriously, it's exactly like where I live. It's not negative 80, but it gets to negative 56 degrees in northern Minnesota, just 4 hours north of where I live. But yeah, it gets up to 100 degrees as well in the summer. We barely get acclimated and we're swinging back the other way. It's going to be almost 100 degrees this next week right now. So, Temur's air, that has the capital city of this star system and the 38 million people, is exceptionally stable. It experiences virtually no axial tilt, leading to predictable, highly comfortable weather that rarely exceeds 35 degrees Celsius and averages a bombing 25 degrees Celsius. So it's like between 70 and 80. Totally David's temperature, the lower one. The higher one is too hot for him. And that's exactly what he said when he arrived. He said it was too hot. That's exactly what he was describing to me, I felt like, when he was saying earlier that it was hot when he got there. It's like he wasn't saying, oh my God, I can't even go outside. But he was just saying it was hot for him. Then I asked if there's anything blue there. And it said, one of the distinguishing features of the Pleiades stars is their striking blue color. This is due to the stars' properties, primarily their high temperatures. So we've got blue. This is totally it. Temur is the one that's more temperate, and that totally matched the sun that David was giving me, that beautiful glow of the sun. And it said that it never gets really hot. It stays around like 80 degrees Fahrenheit down to like 70s. And that there's beautiful flora and beautiful lush plants and flowers that grow on that planet. And they provide the food. And the Pleiadians mostly eat plants that are grown from the luscious sun energy. So they're getting the sun energy put into their bodies when they eat their food. I was like, oh my God, that sounds exactly like what David's been describing this whole time. That is so freaking cool to me. I was just like, wow, I can't even believe that. I also just realized another layer to David's answer when he said, take your pick. When I read this information about Temur, I went, oh my God, he was talking about picking plants to eat, picking the flora and fauna, the fruits. That's what they eat. But humans have to acclimate. If they don't, they can have some health problems happen. So their body has to acclimate. And I remember seeing how David had said several times that he was spending some time rejuvenating and acclimating, rejuvenating and acclimating. And now I know, oh, that makes sense. And the first thing he told me the very first reading I had with him, he showed me water. Oh yeah. And Temur is like 79% water. I was like, oh my God, this is it. He's on freaking Temur. He is on the planet Temur in the Pleiades star system. This is where he is. 79% water, a temperate climate, not too hot, not too cold, beautiful flowers and beautiful, lush, beautiful plants. Like Hawaii. Remember I told you guys it looked like Hawaii in my mind, the vision that David gave me. That's totally where he is. That's exactly where he is. I can tell you right now. That's where he is. There's 38 million Pleiadians on that planet. Now, all of this is sourced from Edward, and Edward has been jumping out. The elders have been making the word Edward jump out to me for the last several days. That's where he is. I'm absolutely 100% aligned with that, but that's where he is. Does that make sense to you guys? Let me see if there's anything else I forgot to tell you. Let me open up all my little dealies. Oh, yeah. I also have to tell you this. It talked about what happens to humans when they go there, that they have major psychic ability expansion. And I'm like, oh my God, he's told us about that too. Yeah, but also the capital city is Talika City, located on Temmer's largest island, Tolika Island, which is roughly the size of New Zealand. The city sits beautifully on the mouth of the Tolika River, set against a backdrop of permanently snow-covered mountains. I also realized when I was editing this video that the Ten of Swords card that David has been giving me also describes exactly the snow-capped mountains and the river at the capital city on Temmer. Here you can see there's permanent snow-capped mountains here in the card and water in the foreground. I had initially noticed the beautiful red flowers as flora and fauna of where he's at, and he's given me this card a number of times. There you go. This Gilded Royale tarot deck continues to blow my mind. And the fact that David gave me this card also seriously blows my mind. That sounds just absolutely gorgeous. So that's where he is. Then it said, a sudden rush of oxygen into the bloodstream causes a strong sense of intoxication, deep relaxation, a natural euphoria, often called oxygen high. Supercharged energy. Chronic fatigue vanishes instantly. The body's cellular mitochondria burn energy at a much higher rate, causing humans to feel physically stronger and completely tireless. Minimal need for sleep. Because the cells are constantly saturated with energy, humans there only need 2 to 3 hours of sleep per night to feel completely refreshed. Long-term biological changes, accelerated healing, minor cuts, bruises, and internal inflammation heal at up to 2 to 3 times the speed of Earth's rate. Brain optimization. Mental fog clears entirely. The high oxygen levels stimulate neurogenesis, leading to sharper focus, faster reflex times, a heightened sensory awareness. Colors look brighter and sounds are crisper. That's why he's telling us that he can astral travel, and he's got all that down and everything now, and that he's gone off to meditate and get information that he's bringing back and sharing. It's like, yeah, because he channeled here on Earth, but he can channel way better there. Then it said, there's a danger of oxidative stress if a human stays on Temmer for too long without adapting. And he said he's been acclimating and adjusting. I think he's doing great, and I think he's doing really, really well in all of that. That's pretty mind-blowing, and it's a tropical planet. They also Google out at 6 to 7 feet tall, and one of the very first things he said in the reading that I just did was his woman was tall. Pretty cool. This might be the most mind-blowing one of all. I also just realized this as I was editing the video. Earlier, one of the very first signs I started off with in this video was 6 4s, 444, 444, and David said, why isn't anybody connecting the dots? Well, the Pleiades is 444.2 light years away. So, there you go. 2 groups of 3 4s, 444, 444. Why isn't anybody connecting the dots? Well, I think I just connected that dot. And we'll see what else we get. This is just amazing information. I'm super excited to keep going and see what we learn next. For those of you just getting started, you can go to my David Wilcock playlist on my channel. I'll have it linked in the description because every single one has information that's not repetitive. Also, I just had a new video come out in my Great Awakening Updates playlist. I'll put that in the description as well. All this ties in with David's work. It's all going to turn out great when we're done, and David just said that along with me. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.